right. Hello, hello. It is Fiverr Friday. That's right. It is Fiverr Friday. Super excited to be coming to you, episode number 15. And I am sporting new gear. That is right. I told you that I wanted to get a Fiverr gear. I wanted to get a Fiverr shirt and a Fiverr hat. Unfortunately, I could not find gear, so I decided to go out on my own and show some ingenuity and create my own Fiverr gear. So as I'm recording and doing my Fiverr work, I like to wear my Fiverr gear. No, I'm kidding. But I definitely am wearing my Fiverr hat today, so I'm excited to move forward with you on that. So again, welcome to Avio's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. Well, welcome. This is crazy times, but I can tell you that Fiverr is going strong and business is definitely booming. There has been just a lot of different types of voiceovers going through my account. I know that for me, I have definitely been doing a lot of COVID-19 voiceovers, but also been doing a lot of Easter voiceovers. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate the hat. I'm going to start making them and selling them. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. But I appreciate it. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of, like I said, a lot of coronavirus videos, voiceovers, but also been doing a lot of Easter videos because as you know, Easter is this Sunday, so it is a joy and a pleasure to help out in any way that I can. So if you are new to Fiverr Fridays, basically what we do is we go ahead and I give you a little spiel and you bring your questions and your comments and all that, and you bring it and post them in the group chat. I answer them, I give you my 2 cents, and we try to help you get more business in your Fiverr account. So happy Friday, Alan. It's great to have you. I know there has been some delays in going out in certain places, so people might be coming and popping in a little bit later. It's great to it's great to be live. We're having people from Facebook, from YouTube, from Instagram, from Twitter, and I know that there's been some changes again. So I think Twitter's actually streaming now. But as always, it's a little strange about what's going. I see that Restream is trying to make up for some things that they were messing up on. But anyways, it's good to see that Facebook is getting some more traction on Facebook from the standpoint of people actually being able to engage. So welcome. It's good to have you. And that's right. Fiverr swag. I finally got it. Well, listen, I want to talk to you guys today about commercial rights and the importance of them, but I also want to give you a couple different views, and I want to help you grow your business on Fiverr through using commercial rights, but also in different ways than you thought or that you might think. So first off, if you don't know, the big thing with Fiverr, and the reason why I love the platform amongst many things, is that it gives you so many options as a seller to tweak and tailor your sales and things to what the client needs. And also it gives you a lot more leeway to negotiate with a client. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. And that's one of the things I love about Fiverr, So one of those things is commercial rights, right? And broadcast rights and all the extras. So the thing with Fiverr is, you have your base price. And remember, we've talked about this in the past, but just as a reminder, especially if you're used to doing things from the old school way, is, we usually used to be paid, and many people still do, but usually you're paid for a studio fee, like a recording session, and that, could be $50, $100, however much you would charge for an hour of your time. Then you pay for the intellectual rights to your work, whether you license those rights for 6 months or a year or whatever, or you do it in perpetuity, right? You do it for as long as they want to use it, okay, for the life of it. So, so there was really two types of charges, okay? And then there could be different charges depending on editing and mastering and all those things. Well, something that, Fiverr's really, again, done is that they've taken those things and they've split them into like products and product extras. So it helps us to charge different prices based on the actual time we're working as opposed to a lump sum. Do you see what I mean? So, if we're doing 100 words, that's not going to take us an hour, okay? It should only take us 5 to 10 minutes. And, we charge for 5 to 10 minutes of our time. But if they do want to buy, they do want to use this for commercial purposes, promotion or advertising or marketing and so forth, which most of it is, less than 95% of it is, okay, then, that's where we can do commercial rights and broadcast rights. But we're going to talk about commercial rights today because commercial rights are pretty much what you should be charging the most. That should be the add-on, the extra that you are doing the most on your Fiverr account. So you can find commercial rights, of course, in your add-on section. And what you charge, first let's talk about price. So what you charge for commercial rights is solely up to you. If you were to charge, industry standard rates like you would find on the suggestions that they have on the Global Voice Acting Academy, those rates can be pretty high depending on whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, whether it's a buyout. And what I mean by that, they can cost hundreds of dollars. And then it gets into this is where the challenge comes in. This is why it's confusing and why I like Fiverr in one sense, because it's not only how long someone licensed your work, but it's also about how many people or like region, national, international, like it's based on this thing, how many people are going to also see it as well. So, that's, and now mind you, that sounds nice, but what Fiverr is doing and what the commercial rights in Fiverr does is it allows small businesses, it allows solopreneurs, if you will, to be able to afford it. Now, again, you can charge whatever you like. You can charge those rates, and that's fine. And there are more people coming to Fiverr to purchase them. All right. But thank you, Gary. But the reality is that it's a nice thing to be able to charge a discounted rate, if you will, or an affordable rate for the bulk majority of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people just starting out, or people running really small businesses, or people looking for a great product at an affordable rate. So anyways, with that being said, let's dive into the negotiations and the issues that you have. So some of the challenges that we have, first let me back up and say this. Your Fiverr success is based on a lot of things, right? But in the end, it's based on how many people see your account. Okay, I know we've talked about this before. It's all about, and it's not just Fiverr. That's in Google. That's in any other site that you're on. It's how high up the site you are, correct? Well, the algorithm on Fiverr takes a lot of things into determination, and one of them is your average selling price. That is a big part because Fiverr is trying to raise. They are a publicly traded company. Which, by the way, their stock has been up some amidst all of this. And but anyways, they're a publicly traded company. They are all about trying to increase their bottom line. Okay, and they're trying to get away from that old dogma of cheap, cheap, cheap. Okay, they've launched this campaign, and they're promoting people who have a higher average sales price. Okay, so that's our goal, right? Is to get our sales price up. You can find that average sales price on your analytics tab. It's a ribbon on your above where your dashboard is and analytics and gigs and stuff. On that ribbon is the analytics tag, and you can see what your overall average sales price is. And you want to get that up to above $50, above $60. That should be your goal, okay, to get that up there. Now, a lot of people have $10, $15, which is perfectly fine, okay? But the whole point here, and why I'm bringing that up with commercial rights, is because commercial rights can help you get there. Okay. But let's talk about some things that happen. So when someone comes and they go to purchase from you, right? They say, hey, I want to buy, 100 words for $5. And you're like, okay. And they're like, well, we're going to post this on our Instagram account selling, citronella candles. And you're like, cool. All right. So you're like, well, I charge $25 for commercial rights, so I'm going to add that in there. So now your total cost is $30. And they're like, whoa, $30? What the heck? It says $5. I don't want to pay $30. Rah, 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 rah. Right? You have that. Like $30 is a lot anyways, right? So anyways, this is where the challenge comes in, right? This is the battle, the fight that many of us go through on Fiverr when you're just starting out or you're beginning. And as you go along, you do get to, get a little bit different as it does get a little easier the higher up you go, meaning like the higher seller ranks you get. And when you change your pricing, the higher you raise your pricing, you don't deal with that as much. But when you're first starting out and when you're trying to get your account boosted, up, you deal with it a lot. So with that being said, it can be a challenging one because you have a lot of people who don't know what even commercial rights means. And they don't understand the difference between commercial rights and broadcast rights. They might think commercial rights mean that you're getting it and they're paying for ads, where we know that's broadcast rights in that sense, not commercial rights, right? Commercial rights is like a blanket use to use our work. It's the intellectual rights to use our work in any form of promotion in a business sense, right? That's not paid advertising that's going to reach a certain amount of people for certain because of the paid nature of it, which is then broadcast rights in the context of we're talking about Fiverr. So with all that being said, it's important that you can explain it quickly and effectively to your customer. Most of the times, the issues we have getting the upsell, because we're talking about upselling commercial rights to your customers or your clients. The issues that you run into come down to, one, they're confused. They don't know what it is. Two, they thought they were getting a price because they've never done it before. So they saw $5 and they think it's $5. They don't think it's going to be extra. Okay, so you've got a couple of things here with misunderstandings, all right, when it comes to communication. So when you are working with a client, first off, you have to understand that is something that is going to happen. So please don't be angry. And of course, you can be frustrated that they don't get it. But, a lot of times when someone sees a price, think about it. If you go search on Fiverr, and yes, you know it because you're a seller, but if you go search on Fiverr and you look at prices, like how Fiverr displays them, in all fairness, all right, Fiverr displays them in a manner in which you don't see the extras unless you specifically click on a gig, okay, and you dive into it. You don't see it there. So it's the seller's job to do everything they can to make sure that is being told to the customers, the clients, as much as possible. Okay, so because of that, you have to think when you're going to fill out your description, when you're going to fill out your FAQs, when you're filling out even your requirements page, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It is so vital that you actually put down, what they need to know about commercial rights. They need to know what it is. They need to know that they need it. They need to be able to find it everywhere. And I also find one of the best and biggest tools that I have used, and I preach about this often, is the requirements page and how vital the requirements page is to growing your voiceover business on Fiverr. All right, because, for example, if they go and they find you and they like what you're doing and they're like, oh, great, you're like $5, this is exactly what, or whatever, maybe it's $100, whatever it is, the prices, but they book you. They technically could listen to your demo, then they could click on the order button, order from you, and they could skip all of the other stuff, right? They technically don't have to read your description. They technically don't have to read the FAQs. They don't have to look at the extras. They don't have to do any of that. All they really have to do is go and type in the word count, hit the buy button, and that's it. However, no matter what any of your clients or customers do, they all have to go through your requirements page. They have to. Hands down. They cannot move forward and without doing the requirements page. And if you bought anything from Fiverr, too. You buy something, you go to the requirements page. Okay? So when they hit that requirements page, this is where this is where you have their absolute attention. You have their attention, so you need to use it to your advantage. So what I do on the requirements page is the first thing that I do is I make sure that I put the directions about please make sure you attach your script and any directions that you have. But here's where the next thing begins. And I know we didn't go back and talk about description and everything, but let's stick on requirements page. All right? Because if you didn't put that, the extras anywhere else for commercial rights, this is where you must have it. I mention commercial and broadcast rights 2 to 3 times on the requirements page, and I require them to acknowledge that they either need it or don't need it. Here's another beautiful thing about it. I'll go further in that in a second, but here's a beautiful thing about the requirements page too, is that the requirement, like when you get an order and it comes through, right, to you, the requirements page is what pops up on that order. So when you look at your Fiverr account and you have an order, you'll see what is there. It's like your little printout invoice almost. It's like it's an invoice, okay? And it shows you exactly what the person ordered, and then underneath, of course, it's the price, right? With the checkoffs, exactly what the extras are and what they didn't. But since it shows you that, now you have written, recorded proof, because that's recorded on Fiverr. So use that to your advantage, and I'll tell you exactly what I do. There is, you have the option on the requirements page to make questions that you ask the client to fill out. Either they have to fill it out or they can't move forward. So what I do is I actually make sure that I have about 5 different things on the requirements page. Okay, if you think about it, you can do all kinds of things, but I like to stick to 4 or 5. I think that's enough. And by the way, you want to make this as easy as possible for them to understand. So the first thing, of course, is they have to. I make it a requirement that they fill out or put in their script and the directions for me. Then, by the way, and that one section too, before I go to the next section, I also do a little blurb about revisions. Here's another thing. I know we're talking about commercial rights, but revisions are paramount because we're dealing with most of what we do on Fiverr, or nowadays, most of what we do is not live direction, okay? Because that's extra expense for companies. So we do everything pretty much by written directions, and we know very well that they're not always written very well, or very few at all, or sometimes it's just text given to us, all right? And they're like, go for it. So, we have to do a lot of that self-directing on our own. So with that being said, revisions are very commonplace because, you might have, and this happens to me all the time. And actually, the more I go, the more I do, the more I'm actually now getting into dialogue with customers about the fact that I think they might be wrong, that I think my version's better. And it's not that I think that I'm just better than them, but it's more so that I know after a period of time, I've done X amount of work over 20 some plus years, and I see what they're trying to do, and I have an opinion, and I think they need to understand if it's explained right to them. Anyways, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But the point is I specifically let them know right off the bat in that first section about revisions that say, hey, if the directions you've included or not included are fulfilled, okay, and then you would like a change, whether it's a artistic change or a script change or something, that's just so you know that would be classified as a revision, and those are whatever your revision costs are. This is so important that you put that down there, and then you put check that they have to fill that out. The next section I go into describing, I say, do you need commercial rights? Question mark. Then I describe what commercial rights are and why they would need and what scenario they would need them. I also put the price. Then this is what I love, and I've changed this around a bit, but this is the best that I found. You can put multiple answer, and then you can simply put yes or no. And what's really cool about that is if it's like 2, I think it's like 2 or 3, Fiverr actually makes some little bubble checks, which means that you can say yes or no, and then they can click yes or no. And the beautiful thing about that is if they click no, it is recorded and then sent to you in that invoice format on your Fiverr page when they order, and you have that as backup in case there's ever an issue where they're lying. All right. And if you didn't know, by the way, too, Fiverr has an intellectual property claims department. You can, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your Fiverr page in the bottom head, or the foot header, whatever they're called, footnotes. They got it down there. It's called intellectual property claims. I think it's in the second row on the bottom left. Okay, I know Fiverr too well. So, anyways, that's a place you can go and actually paste a claim, and they're going to ask you, what proof do you have? Bam, that's your proof. I also do the next one down. So, by the way, they had to click yes or no on that. Okay, and then I say, do you need broadcast rights? I do the same thing. Question mark, then I talk about what it is, then I go into the price, and then I hit yes or no. All right, then I go into oh, we have a guest.
I'm sorry, I gotta get some scissors for Mommy.
Uh-oh. Okay, so will you say hello?
Hello.
Okay. Hey, come here. See, now this is a good learning opportunity. You don't hold them like that. You hold them like this, and you walk very carefully. Do you understand? All right, I love you.
Love you.
Teachable moments. It's beautiful. Anyways, let's get back into this. All right, so we we're kidding. But when things happen, right? We get sidetracked. Let's see. I was talking about. Okay, so anyway, so we broadcast rights, right? Then we go into, for me. Then I go into the revision section, and I do the same thing. I said, would you like to pre-purchase revisions? Right? That's about pre-purchasing revisions. And then I put that down, and they have to say yes or no. And again, I give the cost again of what it is and remind them of what that entails as well. Then on the bottom, I like to add something a little extra. I put down, why did you choose to work with me? And I love collecting that data. And I really recommend you put something down like that too, or put something similar like that, because it gives you some really good data about, why they're choosing from you. Like, for example, you'll know, like, you can gather information from these things, like why people are working with you, why they might not be working with you. That's what you think. It's not just about what they're saying, it's about what they're not saying, right? If you're getting work and people are like, I like how cheap you are. It's like, okay, well, that's good feedback, right? But if you're not getting people saying, I really liked your first take, all right, I really like your voice on this, or I really like, the way you did on your demo, you did this. Like, if you're not, or I really like your portfolio, or I like your breadth of work, or I like, your range. Like, if you're not getting certain things, then you're getting work for a variety of different reasons per se than the reasons you might possibly want to get. But anyways, I digress. That's a whole nother topic. But hopefully you understand now by me talking to you about how vital the requirements page are for you to upsell your commercial rights as well as other products. And by the way, I just do it for commercial and broadcast rights. You could do it for audio sync. You could do it for script proofreading. You can do it for any of those things. But it works so well. And then what happens is, if a person comes, and by the way, this has happened a bunch of times. Let me give you some different things that happens, because I do want to give a disclaimer here. If you have a lot of clients that do not purchase commercial rights, and they will see that, and then they could get worried. All right, and they might come to you, and they might be like, "Hey, why do I need to purchase commercial rights now to use this?" And you should be like, "Yes, you do. You do need to have commercial rights. It's very important." Okay, and that's the thing. But here's another cool thing that happens: if they click yes, and it comes through and you see it, you have a little quick response set up where you say, "Hey, thank you so much. I noticed that you're asking for commercial rights. I'll go ahead and send you the extra now." And you can send them the extra, and they'll purchase it from you right then and there. You don't have to mess with anything. Or a lot of times they can buy from you and they'll purchase the extra themselves. It happens all the time to me. And what I am trying to tell you is, it increases your average selling price. You make more money because you're making more money for Fiverr as well. You're boosted in the rankings. It really helps. It helps tremendously. So I am a big advocate for you promoting commercial rights. But let me stop for a second. I know I've talked for so long, and this is supposed to be a question and answer session, but hopefully this can spur some good conversation about this. But I do want to also tell you the honest truth. All right. If anyone tells you that it's just going to be so easy to do these things, like I said, and then everyone's going to purchase commercial rights from you, I would be lying if that's the truth. It can be very difficult. And you might go days where you just want to pull the little hair out that you have. See, when I wear the hat, you don't notice that I have very little hair. The hairline, always about the hair. It was a good time when I had hair. All right, getting back to things. When you're getting me messed up. I know who you people are. I know what you're thinking. Stop it. All right, if only he had hair, life would be different. So I'm trying to stall because I'm trying to remember what I said because the hairline got me off. Oh yeah. Okay. So anyways, so what I was trying to say is that it's not as cut and dry as just saying you must buy commercial rights and that's it. Okay. It can be a challenge. People are going to say no. People are going to order from you, and then they're going to be like, "Well, I want to cancel. I didn't know it was that much." There's some tough cookies out there, and you have to be prepared for that. But I also want to give you another thing to think about, and that is when you are, the reason why I love Fiverr, like I said in the beginning of this, was the flexibility to offer things and to not offer things. And for me, I love that ability to be able to say, someone said, "Hey, listen, I really want to work with you. I love your voice. This is my budget. That's all I have. Is there a way we can work something out?" I love being able to say, "You know what? Absolutely. I'm fine with that." Okay. I love being able to do that. Now, here's the rub. The rub is that I like my bottom price. See, I charge more than $5, but I'm a top-rated seller. Now, please don't just go out. By the way, don't go out and raise your prices by like $20. Okay, and here's a little side quick tip: when you go to raise your prices ever, just raise them by increments of 5 to start. Don't raise them by like 15, 20, or 30. Okay, you'll destroy your business quickly. But raise them by increments of 5. And anyways, so the point is that. By the way, we're talking about Fiverr. The point is that, it gives you the freedom to keep revenue coming in without having to get cancels. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this is important. I talked about this a little bit, but I'll re-mention it. The first quarter of this year, my Fiverr business, I'd made some significant changes. I got rid of a few big gigs that I used to do that I don't do anymore. One of them being audiobooks on Fiverr. I got rid of my audiobook gig on Fiverr, which was part of the early days on Fiverr for me, which really boosted my entire account and boosted my, I guess, coming of age in Fiverr, right? So I got rid of that because honestly, I don't have the time to do audiobooks anymore. I really don't. I do a lot of different things that take up my time, and audiobooks are wonderful and they pay fantastically. But this is just me as a personal decision. So anyways, I did that, and I did some other things. And what happened is my conversion rate, because of a lot of things that were happening, went very low. And that changed a lot of what my rankings were, who was seeing me, because the higher conversion rates you have, the more that also is taken into the algorithm. Because basically in Fiverr's mind, if they show you to X amount of people and those people are not buying from you very much, they're wasting money. Do you see what I mean? So if they show you to X amount of people and more people are buying from you than other people, than other, you know what I mean? Than the same that other people are getting shown to, then they're going to promote you more. All right. It makes perfect sense. But at the same time, we have to be aware of that. So we have to know what is working. And basically your conversion rate is basically the amount of impressions you have to how many jobs that you get booked. Okay, that's your conversion rate, not clicks, views. It's how many impressions to jobs booked. And, I was in the ones in the first quarter. Now I'm back up to 8. Like I've been up in around the 8 to 9% recently. And it's probably why my business has been going through the roof in the last 2 weeks. And I made some significant hard changes to my account in the first quarter, and it was rough. I saw about a 50% decrease in my business, but I made those changes, and now it's going back to where it was before, where I was making around $10,000 a month. So I'm very happy about that. But I recommend, I'm talking to you about this is because, bring it all full circle, commercial rights plays a vital role in all of this, meaning that one thing I did a myriad of things to boost my account, which I've talked about. But one thing that I did is internally, I made a decision with myself that I was going to, if someone came to me and asked me if they could get work for me and then was unwilling to pay commercial rights, if the work was going to be something that I felt I could do quickly, I would waive commercial rights or broadcast rights for them because I wanted to move that conversion number up. This is why I always talk about understanding numbers, knowing the data that drives your business, okay? And it is a wonderful piece of data that Fiverr gives us, that like no one else gives us that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So that's another reason why I really enjoy working with Fiverr is the data they gives us allows us to make quick decisions. So that is something that I did. Now, mind you, some people order, and I always include commercial rights no matter what I do. So someone asks me for a quote, I always include commercial rights no matter what. I don't ask them if they need commercial rights. I just include it in the price. But if someone is like, hey, I can't do that right now, is there a way we can still work together? You know what I mean? I will go ahead and waive it because I am trying to make sure a couple things. I want to help people out during this time of need because it is tough out there. But I also want to make sure revenue is continually flowing through my business so that I have cash coming in. I could stand on top of a mountain and, plunge the sword into my heart as many times as I want, to die on that sword. Like, I'm not going to do it without commercial rights. But where does that get me? I'm dead on the mountain. All right. Okay. So, the whole point of that is that's the point of the saying. Okay. It's not worth it. And in this particular case, now, don't get me wrong. There are times, and I know this might sound contradictory, but there are times where it's worth it, right? Where if you're super busy in this particular time and someone's trying to strong arm you, it's not worth it. But at the same time, I'm trying to help you out with growing your Fiverr business. You need to keep revenue flowing. Okay, so that's why I like to put these other things into place, like I talked about the requirements page, but it's also good to remember to, give some leeway to people in order to keep business going. Okay, now, when I was first starting out and I was just charging $5, it was a lot harder to swallow that pill because it was only $5. Now I charge $20, and that's not that much more. My base rate for 150 words is $20. But, when I'm doing 100 words, let's say it's like 50 words for $20 and they don't play commercial rights, that's different than doing 50 words for $5. And still, that's not bad at all. Okay, that's good. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, since I charge a little bit more, I don't want to be like, to try to sit here and tell you got to not charge what you should charge. I just want you to take in consideration the value of being able to have money, cash, flow through your business, flow through your Fiverr account to increase that conversion rate, which will increase your increase your visibility on Fiverr, which will bring you more business, which you will then be able to charge more, and the wheels turn and turn. Because if you're constantly turning down that business, take it from me. I turned down loads of it was like, again, you know how I say I step on a bunch of landmines so you don't have to? Well, it's the truth. I did a whole bunch of stuff in January, February that was so wrong. I turned away so much business because I was like, no, I'm dying on the mountain these months. And it was just the wrong thing to do. It really hurt my business on top of those other things I talked about. Now, again, I still have I have like a 70, I think it's like $72 or $73 average order. That's my average order price. I'm not saying that's great, but because I know numbers on Fiverr and I have some coaches through Fiverr, some seller success coaches. I know that that's above the average for sales price on Fiverr. So it is a good way to get up there. But anyways, I hope that this information helped out today, and you're thinking about commercial rights, you're thinking about growing your business through Fiverr, but you're also looking at the data now, like your conversion rates, and then also the requirements page and how you can really utilize them. All right, so I definitely have talked for way too long, for 34 minutes. See, y'all let me talk. I should add like a little button that says a real little AI that will say what you guys are saying. Anthony, shut up and stop talking. Take our questions. Do something like that. See, I can't even do a robotic voice when I try, and then people are don't you hate that when people are like, you sound like a robot? You're like, I hate you. All right, let me recognize all you amazing peeps that are watching. Let me start over on Instagram. Oh, I hate when I do that. Sorry, Instagram. That was that was the back of my wall there. Okay, let's see. We've got a bunch of people on Instagram. We got Walter, Lorraine. What's up? Good to have you guys. We got Jeff. We got Dane. What's up? We've got Tunes. We got Loibin. I think that's how you say it. I apologize, everybody, if I'm saying your name wrong. Jeff has a question. Does anyone ever try to argue that rights are automatically transferred to the client? Oh yeah, Jeff, I've had people argue about all sorts of stuff. And I've had people say, in my country, you don't need commercial rights, so I'm not paying you, which is semi true in the fact that there are different countries have different rights, or different laws. But yes, absolutely, Jeff. I've had people do that. What happens a lot, Jeff, to me, is a lot of people don't understand the difference between, because they think they have rights to their work, which they do. They don't realize that they have to have the rights to use our work with their work. Does that make sense? So that happens all the time, Jeff. I hear you, man. I use the multiple choice for CR and FR. Oh, nice. Dad life. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Bendy Joe. I love that name. Jason, what's up? Jason says, do you have a website with your lessons on it? Absolutely, Jason. I'm so glad you asked. It's www.avosjourney.com. avosjourney.com. And you can actually, I know you're on Instagram, but if you go to my profile on Instagram, it's the link in the profile to my website, but it's avosjourney.com, all one word, but you can get there in the profile. Thank you for asking, my man. Loibin says, Jones from South Africa. What's up, South Africa? Let's see, Studio One. Hey, Studio One from London. Good to have you guys. Let's head over to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. See everybody. We got Zach. What's up, my man? Alan. Ozzy. What's up, Ozzy? Tom. Good to have you. Kyle. Good to have you. Yes, so as you can see, my Fiverr swag is rolling. Colin. What's up? Angela. Gary, hey, Anthony, glad you're upward slant. Yes, we're talking about. Okay, Kyle says, I have people asking me to do a script. When I tell them my cost and see that it needs commercial rights, they claim it doesn't, or it's for internal usage only, yada, yada, yada. We've all heard that, Kyle, many times. It's personal. There is a clear sell or call to action, and they refuse to pay it. Any suggestions on how to deal with these lowball Fiverr people? Absolutely, Kyle. And I know I kind of talked about that just towards the end, and I know this was an earlier question, but I want you to, and by the way, I think you really need to make this decision now before these moments even come up and say, if this happens, I will do this. Does that make sense? So for me at this point, I've had multiple of those issues today, and I can tell you, Kyle, it's like, I mean, I almost feel it's like a dam, right? I mean, and you've got these customers who want to work with you, but they don't want to pay what you want, and it's all stopped up. You know what I mean? It's like all clogged up. And I've tried to, within the last month, I switched and I tried to open that dam so that I could get the stuff flowing through again, meaning that if a client is trying to work with me, but they don't want to pay everything, even if they're lying or not, I'm trying to work with them on their terms so that I can keep the money flowing because, if you've been on Fiverr long enough, you know that for every $5, $10 job you do, there's also going to be the $100 to $200 jobs or more. So it's like you're giving and taking, I feel, and you can never forget that. Especially how high you go, no matter how well of a top-rated seller you are, you can never forget that, because when you forget that, that's when your business starts to go the other direction. And if anybody is in that direction where they were doing really well and things started kind of churning around because you're not quite sure, that usually is the reason. And it happened to me. And I had to reopen, the waterway, if you will, to keep on that analogy. So that's what my suggestion would be, Kyle. I would definitely make the decision to either A, do it or not do it. But I can tell you, if you decide to open those floodgates and work with those people, it's going to boost you higher in the rankings, which gives you leverage. Right? Because when you don't have a lot of work, you don't necessarily have leverage. When you have a lot of work, you have leverage to say, oh, I can't do this. I can, or for example, this is something I do. I charge $30 for commercial rights and $55 for broadcast rights. I raised my prices recently and no one's having a problem paying that. I did not, you were paused, Instagram, for poor connection. I'm sorry. I paused for commercial rights. Pause. No, what was it? I lost my train of thought. Commercial rights, broadcast rights. So what I mean by that is I might do some sort of negotiating with them, right? I might say, hey, I know I raised my prices, but I might say instead of paying $30, I'll do it for $10. So instead of $20, it costs $30 as opposed to $50. Is it $20 cheaper? Yes. It is like 40% off? Yes. But I'm happy to accept the $30 to keep going through, because there's going to be, I know also by doing thousands, I've done thousands of voiceover jobs on Fiverr now. I know that I'm also going to get lots of voiceover work that pays me a lot of money, as opposed, you know what I mean, as well. So I know the higher in the rankings I get, because that money's flowing through, the more I'm going to get. It's like a give and take game. I hope that answers, Kyle. I hope that helps out. All right, let's look over on, let's look over here. Jason, what's your opinion on voice acting schools? I'm from Canada, and there's only one that exists as far as I'm aware. Well, Jason, for starters, I don't know if you mean like an external school or you mean online. If you want some help, I would love to help. I do one-on-one coaching. I do a mentorship program. I think we have over 60. I think I have over 50. We have 50 people in the Fiverr Elite program, which is wonderful. We meet every week on Saturday virtually. And I have about eight students or so that I do a mentorship program with. But I'd love to help you out, Jason. But I'm not sure that there's not actually not a terribly amount of a lot of schools that are actually out there. They're starting to get more traction, of course, because it's a booming industry, but there's not a lot. So that's the only thing. So your online is your best bet, Jason. It really is. All right, let's see. Michael says, hi, Anthony. Finally able to catch. What's up, my man? Kyle says, great topic. Thanks for the details. Absolutely, buddy. All right, Katya, what's up? How are you doing? It's good to see. It's good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a while. This is exactly the topic I needed to talk about today. Awesome. Excellent tip on including explaining rights in the requirements page. Going to do that straight away. Nice. All right, Michael says, on buyer requests, when a buyer posts a job with, say, a $5 budget, is that supposed to be including everything? Are we to include gig extras, or should we add these on, thus exceeding buyer's budget? Some time ago, with your advice, I made the buyer answer a question on commercial broadcast rights. So, Michael, great question. So, listen, on the buyer request section, people put that down. So there's a couple things. One, people put that down. Yes, that's true. That's their budget. Or B, they don't even know what to put down, so they put that down. So listen, when you go into that, go into it knowing that you're also going to be bidding against other people, right? The other people that put it up there. However, if you think about the buyer request is one thing I love. Let's say you go in the buyer request and there's 30 submissions. Even with 30 submissions, you have a better chance of getting seen than you do for the 14,000 people on, that are trying to vie for those first couple of spots. So, first off, the buyer request section is an amazing section, and we look at 30 as a lot on there, right? So, that's one thing to plug the buyer request section. But to answer your question, Michael, I would always put down exactly what you want to charge, but look at the buyer's request section as almost like a discount. I look at it as a place to generate business, but I will put down what I charge and let them know. Now, if there's some confusion, this is what I recommend. If there's some confusion with it, like you said, put down, hey, go ahead and message me, because you can't message them through there, but you can leave a message with the request, right? I mean, with the offer. So you can say, hey, I'd love to talk to you more about this. Go ahead, send me a message here through Fiverr. Give them a link to your gig. Put that in the offer. All right. And I've had a lot of people contact me through buyer requests that way to talk more about it, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to, they don't know what to look for. They don't know what the costs are. So, yes, you can try it out a whole bunch of different ways. The cool thing about it is you get 10 a day. So, you can try it out all kinds of different ways. I hope that helps, Michael. Let's see, over on Instagram, Tunes. What's up, Tunes? Hey, Anthony, I want to include an extra fast gig delivery of 12 hours, but I can't see that option to do it. 1 day is the minimum in the drop-down menu. How do you add that? Great question, Tunes. So Fiverr I don't think it's unwittingly, but that's a great question, because this brings up a lot of things. So first off, to answer your question, what you do is you go down to the bottom of your add-ons, and there's a little plus button underneath your add-ons. That plus button, you click that and you can add an extra. Now, Tunes, I don't know what level seller you are, but depending on what level seller you are, the amount it adds, you can add more on your own. So you actually go down to that on the add-on section, click the plus button, and then you can add your own extra. And then you type that in, and it'll be a little pop-up form that'll show you what you need to type in. That's how you add that. Now, it's important to note, too, that if you are trying to add that extra gig or that extra that Fiverr offers, you have to do 2 days, right? You can't do 1 day. But here's the rub. Fiverr changed their search, some of their search parameters, meaning that people can now search for straight 24-hour express delivery. If you're new to Fiverr, this is not new to you, because it's what it was. But it used to be that people could search between 1 to 3 days. So that search wasn't actually a viable worry to put down 24 hours or less. But now that people can search for 24 hours on its own, if you are doing anything over 24 hours, like 2 days, for example, Tunes, in order to get the extra fast delivery for 1 day, then you're going to be missing out on tons of search results because you're not doing 24 hours. So I think that's good. That's good idea to get down to, the 12 hours there. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Colin, have you ever had to use Fiverr's intellectual dispute department? Colin, I have not, but I have gone there. I've talked to them, because I just do that on Fiverr. I go around and message Fiverr and compliment them on what a good job they're doing, and try to stay handy so they know my, they know my stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's important. Like, they know who I am. But no, I've not actually used them, because I've not actually searched for any of that happening, because quite frankly, I'm not too stressed about it. I don't worry about it. It doesn't worry me. You know what I mean? I know it bothers some people, and I'm not saying it shouldn't, but it doesn't bother me. Let's see. Angela, Switch says, I start raising my prices by keeping it at $5 but lowering the word count. Okay. I mean, I start raising my prices by keeping it at $5 but... Oh, yes, that's true. Right, there are different ways to do it. My suggestion about word count, too, by the way, is keep it above 100. Don't go below 100 words unless you're doing IVR. This is just personal experience. Maybe you've had a different experience with it, but I find that when I go under 100 words, it for some reason, I don't get as much traction. But don't forget, on the back end, right, like commercial rights, broadcast rights, all of these things, you can tweak prices in other places without tweaking your base price. Okay. Let's see. Michael says, that's my problem at the moment, a catch-22. I need the land orders to get more exposure, but I need more exposure to get orders. Be hitting buyer requests, but coming up empty over the past couple of weeks. So, Michael, if we are, and I know we'll be meeting soon, but what we need to do, Michael, is we need to take an honest look, and everybody, and I want to come appeal to from the kindness of my heart, because we're all artists, And sometimes when there's, we get constructive criticism about our performances, it's tough. But the reality is that if we get to a place, and I want to be straightforward with you, where whatever we are doing every single thing under the sun and it's not working, all right, it could be that we are not putting out the voiceover or the it could be quality, or it could be style, it could be tone. It could, we're not putting out exactly what the market is looking for from us. All right. And that is something that, we have to come to the realization if you are honestly putting in all of the work. All right. It can be a myriad of things, but I know I work with some people who do. They put in so much work and they can't seem to gain traction anywhere. And then when we dive deeper into their acting or their voice acting, or Michael, because I know you a little bit, or Michael, you may be trying to go down a road on Fiverr that's not the road that Fiverr is paving. Does that make sense? Like you're trying to go down a road where you're doing, because I know what you're trying to do, Michael, because we work together. And I would say that, maybe for Fiverr, that might not be the best road to get the traction you want to get. Because there might not be as much work on Fiverr. If you're like, for example, if you're a character, because I'll just say, Michael, if you're a character actor and you're trying to do that too, you're not going to get, there's definitely character work on it. I get character work. It's actually been picking up a little bit for me lately, but there's not a lot. It's not the main stuff people are going to Fiverr for, right? Those will be little character jobs on Fiverr. They're not going to be big game. It's not going to be that on Fiverr. So it's just something to think about. But Michael, I'd love to talk to you more about it, because in the end, there does come a point where the reality is that people got to pick you, in the end. So we can talk about that too, Michael. And thank you for putting yourself out there, buddy. Rudy, or should I say Ruby? I'm never going to let you, never going to let that down. Is it wise to mix offerings not related to VO on the account? Or is it better to get another account going for, let's say, a lifestyle gig? Ooh, good question, Rudy. So listen, no. Well, first off, Fiverr doesn't want you to have two accounts. If they find out, they will ban you like so fast your head will spin. So don't try to set up two different accounts. And secondly, be careful about the lifestyle gig. Like some of you know the story I was telling you about my first quarter and how I was down 50%, and now I'm getting back up to where I was, at wintertime. But one of those reasons is because I implemented my Fiverr gig review. Many of you know, many of you have used it. I had to take that down and move it over to my website. It's still available on my website. You can find it there. But you have to, I don't have it on Fiverr anymore. And this is why, because it was under a different section. And basically what happened is that because it wasn't a voiceover, even though it dealt with voiceover clients, it was getting a lot of traffic that had nothing to do with voiceover. And see, most of I had like, and ended up getting 20 or 30, I'd done 20 or 30 jobs on there before I had taken it down. But since the revenue was so high, right, because it started at 50, which was a good price, because I do a 20 to 30 minute review of your account, and you can get that on a VO's Journey, by the way, VO'sjourney.com. But the thing is that it brought a whole bunch of clients to that gig that were asking for product reviews on different things, right? On like, even though it probably wouldn't be bad to grow hair or beard combs or things like that, just crazy stuff, whatever it was. And I wasn't doing that. That's not what I don't do product reviews. I'm a voiceover guy. That's what I do. So, and I work with voiceover clients. And so what happened is it tanked. That was another reason why it tanked my conversion rate, because I was getting tons of views, but no one was buying from it internally because the gig was not set up in a manner in which it was actually targeting the group I wanted to. So I would say to you that if you have a lifestyle gig, make sure that you are going to put it in a place that targets exactly what you wanted to target, and then you shouldn't have an issue. But I've worked with some people who have, we all have lots of talents, and they've put up gigs in other areas and they've done very well and it's taken off. and they're doing a lot more work than they are with their voiceover gigs. So don't be surprised if you put up other gigs and they do even better than what your voiceover gig is doing. Just, be okay with that. But it won't tank your gig unless you're not getting work and you're getting lots of things like that happen to me. But again, it happened to me because I put the wrong thing up. I put something up in a place and I was getting the wrong business for what I was actually looking for. So the only thing I could do was take it down, because once you get in the category, they don't let you switch categories. All right, great question. Okay, let me see. Where did I go? Thank you. Information you've inspired. Okay, wait. Okay. It's wonderful info. Thank you. Thank you so much, Katya. Angela says, thank you for the information. You've inspired me to change a few things. Awesome, Angela. Nick said, Angela. Nick says, hey, what's up, Nick? Brian, what's up, my man? I still have work to do for you, don't I, Brian? Yes, I do. Bill, if you have a gig that is not getting any traction, and you have others that are should you pause? Wait. If you have a gig that is not getting any traction, and you have others that are, should you pause, deactivate that poorly performing gig? Would that help with a conversion rate? Great, Bill. So listen, I would say what I would like you to do first, because I was actually working with someone else that's in the Fiverr Elite group with this, is instead of deleting it or deactivating it, what I want you to do is tweak it. Start working on changing the sales copy. Work on maybe the title or the tags. Work on, if there's with your extras, your FAQs, your requirements page, maybe put up some brand new, put up a new demo on there. Because when you delete something, by the way, when you delete it, it completely does away with all of those impressions that you have. And what will happen is that because of that, the rest of your account suffers even more. It drags everything else down. Now, what I told you I had to do for a variety of reasons. One, because I couldn't do anything I tried to do things to the one gig, my review gig, and no matter what I did, it was still in the wrong category, and it wasn't going to attract voiceover artists. The voiceover artists that were finding it from the links I put on my Facebook page, etc. Right? So there was no reason to send them to Fiverr when I could just easily do that from my website, and that was hurting my Fiverr business. But since that is in your voiceover category, I would tweak it instead of deleting it, because just like anything else, you have gigs will kind of get authority. They'll get some traction going with them. So that's what I would recommend. Don't delete it or deactivate it or pause it. Try to tweak it. Do you know what I'm saying? Try to tweak it, unless it's so, because you can change the title. You can change everything with it. If you ever want to know what someone's title was, you just go and look at the top section, the address section, and you can actually see what their title used to be. Like 90% of everybody's changed their title multiple times. It doesn't affect your stuff. My main gig's titles change multiple times. Let's see. I want that hat. Yes, it's just a piece of tape. I had to draw it out. I have used rights. Okay, wait. Sorry. Nick says, question: how often do you change your gig videos or audio samples? I actually I haven't changed my gig videos in a while, except when I upload new ones. Okay, so that's something that, because I like mine, and they're doing well. See, here's the thing: tweak your stuff when it's not doing well. Don't just sit around and wonder what's wrong. Okay, but if it's doing well, don't break something that's not, don't try to fix something that's not broken. But when I add a new gig, Nick, I don't know how many gigs you have up, but I try to add new stuff too, to figure out what's going on as well, to run tests, and I added 2 new gigs recently. One is really taken off. One kind of has not, even though I've got a few jobs on one and a lot of jobs on the other. And I put up 2 new gigs towards the end of February and one in March, and they've just taken off. One has taken off a lot. And I put a whole video. I did a different thing with a video. Most of my videos are not videos, really. They're a video, but it's just my face, and then the voiceover, the demo underneath. But the last one I put up, or one of the ones I put up, was the first time I actually put video footage together of commercials. And because I have so many videos now that clients have sent me, over all the voiceovers I've done, that I've got really great videos. By the way, that's another little tip: ask for videos. because it's great advertising. Joe, I told you, man, I'm going to sell the hat. Gary Midland, I should do like a, I could sign it and not that that matters. Like anybody would want my signature. I sign it and auction it off and we'll give it to a good cause. Like we'll give it to a hospital or something. If I have a 1-day delivery, is the only way to add a fast delivery extra by adding a get to the front of the line type extra. So that's what I do. Move to the front of the line, Gary. Absolutely. That's what I do. I like that better than, and this goes back to what you were asking. I like that better than the 12 hours because what if something bad happens and you can't get it to them in 12 hours? Do you know what I mean? So by saying 12 hours, you even limit yourself even more. I like to say front of the line so that if it's like 14 hours, you know what I mean? They still got it in 14 hours and not 24 hours. So yeah, so that's what I like to do. Let's see. Rudy says Ruby was sent to live on a farm. Okay, back to broadcast rights. How do you post to one that doesn't apply to you? Do you mean how do you post to one that doesn't apply to you? Oh, you mean by a request? Excuse me. So basically what I do is, oh no, I lost Instagram. I think they were done because it was an hour. So we've been on it for an hour. I'm sorry, you guys. We'll have to get off here. I know it's too long. So, but anyways, basically on the buy request section, I like to say, hey, I know you're not looking for a male voiceover artist right now, but if you are in the future, I wanted to, give you my link and let you know I'd love to work with you. I mean, that's just a way to get yourself out there because the way I look at it are these people are looking for voice actors. They might not be looking for you today, but they might look for you in the future. And the wonderful thing is Fiverr doesn't allow people to report you if you send an offer. Okay? So, you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Switch Gaming. Michael, I too am a character actor. I think we have to think of this as a bit in a different way. I currently have one client that sends me a good amount of work consistently. He works on animations, but I think we need to focus directly on contacting clients. I'm currently working on making my demo as an incredible demo. Yeah, and you know what, Switch, I thank you for bringing that up. And I would also recommend, too, that, and by the way, this is a perfect example. I am getting work. I have 7 or 8 gigs up right now. I'm getting work on every single one of those gigs, except my evil character voiceover gig. I get just a teeny bit of work on my character voiceover gig. So, but I know people who are doing a lot more because they are breaking those down into specific parts. Like, we all know like the Optimus Prime and, you might do like an evil warlock or, a wizard or a witch or, different characters. Like someone contacted me. I just got a job by doing that. What's that evil guy with the beard from, that evil guy with the beard and no hair. I don't know if that's not typecasting, from Mario Brothers. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, I just got a job for that guy on Fiverr. So, it's always specific parts I find. So if you break it down like that, that would be a good thing to try. Instead of doing an overall character demo, break them down into parts, into different gigs. Okay, so Rudy, don't take your love to town. What? Okay. Ruby. How does the buyer pay you in a buyer request? It's just the same way. You're sending an offer. So it goes just like a regular gig, Brian. Michael, thanks for the reply, Anthony. How critical is branding in the early stages? I currently have 4 gigs, but the thumbnails are completely different for each. I love the idea of branding just because it goes beyond, just Fiverr. It goes everywhere. So I'm big about branding my face. And one of the hardest things for me to do was to put my face out there. Now I put it everywhere because, it's part of what I do now, and who I am. And that I want to be transparent and I want to be out there for everybody. But the point is, Michael, is it really helps with people be able to identify you anywhere, just like a logo. Do you know what I mean? Which is why I do a lot under a VO's journey, because I want that to be the brand that I represent. So it's vital, Michael. It's vital at any stage. Your recommendation I've yet to implement is adding maximum amount of allowable gigs. This could be lack of exposure. Yeah, that's true. I'm just good at adding background effects, even music. Oh, you're just not good. Well, Greg, you got to get better. You got to get better. You got to push yourself to get better, or you work with somebody who is. Do you know what I mean? Who is? You got to judge your time, right? Is your time worth doing that, or is it worth, or you're going to be better spent paying someone? You know what I mean? Where can you make more money? Artist, what's up, my man? Anthony, you really have a unique logo. Definitely cool. Oh, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you, guys. Hey, listen, I really appreciate your time. We've gone over an hour, and I really thank you for your questions. This has been amazing. If you have an opportunity, please go ahead and subscribe if you already haven't done so. Like, share, leave some more comments and questions. I always try to answer every single question that's left or comment that's left on my YouTube channel or in the Facebook group. By the way, if you are looking to try to grow your voiceover business, you're looking to join a community with multiple top-rated sellers, we have an amazing community called the Fiverr Elite, and we meet every Saturday. You can sign up on a VO's Journey website. You can message me, and I can send you a link. There'll also be a link on the YouTube channel, and I'll post another one in the Facebook group here. But we have another meeting tomorrow, and we get together. We go over data. We talk about these things. We get advice from each other, as well as reviews. We do reviews in the group, and we also have a community that you're a part of. It's really a fantastic place to grow your business as a voiceover artist. And on top of that, we have about 50 hours of content from all the other videos, because this has been, I think Fiverr Elite's been going on for, has it been a year? I don't think it's been at least 8 months. I think it's been a while. We've done a lot. So we do every week. So a lot of content there. So I'd love to have you guys, but thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Excuse me. Be safe. Be healthy. My heart and prayers and thoughts go out to all of you and your families. And especially, I want to thank all the frontline workers for all the things that you're doing. Bye, you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye. Goodbye.